Hey, how's it going? How's everybody doing? Happy Friday night. At least when this video was made, it is Friday night right now, and finally have a job again where I got weekends off. So yeah, looking forward to weekends again, as opposed to before where I was dreading weekends because I worked in a restaurant for so many decades. But anyway, this is just another funny or effed up story about my life. If you want to subscribe, like, do all those things, I want to get up to 100 subs. That would be fantastic. And just kind of like, just sort of, oh, why my face all itchy all of a sudden? That would just be kind of cool and kind of fun for me, I suppose. I guess that's a fun thing. I don't know, but just goals. But so before I get into this video, first thing I want to say is that everybody who knows me well, knows that I'm very much against animal cruelty of any form, at least intentional cruelty. Um, even like trophy hunting, I don't understand that why somebody wants to go out and just shoot an animal to turn it into a decoration. I don't know that. In my opinion, everything has a right to be here just as much as we do. Killing something for food's a little bit different. I prefer it was done a little bit more humanely, but anyway, that's getting into a completely other topic. But the animal in question in this video was long deceased, and I just want to point that out right now. I don't want people to think that I think it's, speaking of animals, so you're going to hear a hiss in a second. Don't fight. But anyway, yeah. So this is a story about, I used to live a short time I live in Toronto now. Most people know that. I talk about Toronto all the time. I make videos in Toronto of me bike riding and other things. But for a little while, I was living in a small town called Uxbridge. Sorry, the cats are about to. I don't want Gunner chasing Lemmy, which I think is about to happen. He bullies her, and I don't like that. But so she's slinking, so tiptoeing almost past him, even though he's watching her. I feel so bad for her because this was her house first. But okay, I think she's okay. But anyway, yeah, I lived in a small town called Uxbridge for a little while. It's about a 45-minute drive out of Toronto. And like all small towns, you got your downtown area with your main street and all the stores and everything. And then around in Uxbridge, everything else beyond that, you got sort of some suburban type looking areas because it's been developed and built up. And then your country and farm areas. I lived out in the farm area, one of the farm areas out there. And I'm saying a lot again, but we were having a party and we were drinking all night. Now I used to stay up if I was partying out there, stay up all night with the dog, and I'd sit on top of, like, there'd be hay, big giant, those big wheels of hay. I guess they're bales. I don't know, the round ones. I don't know. I lived in the country, but I don't know anything about farms. I'm not a farmer or a farm boy. I've always been a city boy. But anyway, so the sun went up. The sun rose. I mean, I sat there with the dog and watched it, and I remembered that about a mile up the street, there was a deer that had been hit by a car, and it was sort of in the ditch. Now, it's going to sound a little bit gross, but I was drunk. I was 19, and, different mentality at 19 than you have when you're 51. So I thought it would be kind of cool to have the skull. So I think you kind of know where this is going. But so anyway, I get the idea to walk up the street to where this deer, and this is probably, this would be Sunday morning now. And so I go to the garage. I find a garbage bag, some rubber gloves, and a saw, a wood saw. Yes. So here I am. I'm not really drunk anymore. I hadn't been drinking for a few hours. So I put the dog in a leash because she wanted to cut. She would have followed me anyway. It was Sandy's little brown, cute little dog. Long passed away now, but great little dog. So she was with me, and we're walking up the street to. So I'm getting a message here, right when I'm busy. Okay. Anyway, so we're walking up the street, and I got the garbage bag in my hand, a saw, and some rubber gloves. So we get up. Finally, it's about a 20-minute walk. It was about a mile away. So it took us about 20 minutes or so to get there. And, sorry, a kilometer away, a little bit more than a kilometer away. I'm not sure what the transition is. I can't remember. But so we get to the deer. So Sandy's sort of sitting there beside me, and here I am, still a little bit drunk, not wasted, but taking this wood saw, and I start cutting through the deer. Now I know it sounds gross, but again, remember the deer was long dead. The town was going to come and clean it up and incinerate it. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to take the head and keep the skull. I had no idea how to get the skin and all that stuff off of it and keep the skull. I had no clue. I'd never done it before, and this is pre-internet days where you could look it up. So anyway, I'm going through this. I'm not going to get into all the gory details about it because it was a little bit gross. There wasn't blood spraying or everything because, you know, it was long past that stage. But anyway, so after some effort with this wood saw, I mean, this is before I knew it. Like I was working in a kitchen back then, but as a dishwasher, I didn't know anything about using a knife. And now I could do it cleanly and I would know what I'm doing. But so I've got the head in the bag, and I thought it'd be funny, as gross as it sounds, to leave the gloves there. So whoever finds it sees a deer without a head and the gloves. But I think most people would figure out that somebody came, took the head because they wanted to do what I was doing. So I get home, and now it's about 6:30 in the morning, and I'm exhausted. So I go in the garage, and I just take the deer, and the head, it's in the bag, and I flop it down on the ground, and I go inside, go to sleep. So several hours later, Tracy goes out to the barn, and she comes back in. She's like, "What the fuck is in that bag?" Because she saw it, and she opened it. She opened it up, and the first thing she sees is maggots, right? And she just closed it. She's like, "What did he bring home? What is this?" So anyway, I told her, and she was like, "Okay, that's gross. Do something with it," because her parents were out of town. So I take it. I didn't know what to do with it. So she goes, "Just don't leave it in the garage." And now the property I was living on had acres and acres of land. So there's a lot of places I could just kind of stash it. So I just go into the backyard, and they had this big shed. I'm going to call it a wood shed for something lack of a better term. And I just kind of wedged it outside. No, sorry, I'm laughing at what I'm about to say next. And again, I know this is gross, but a reminder, the animal had long been deceased, and it would have been incinerated, and, you know, and I was 19 and young. So I take it, and I just kind of stuck it behind the shed between some pieces of wood, not to cram it somewhere, just kind of to put it somewhere out of the way, kind of hide it. So a guy who was a friend of mine at the time, who I long disassociated myself with because he's a deadbeat loser. I'm not going to get into that. But anyway, he was there to mow the grass. They would pay him, the Tracy's parents would pay him to mow the grass and stuff. And so he's mowing the grass, and he comes along the shed. And as he's mowing, he just looks over, and he sees this deer face just sticking out. He freaked. He thought it was like a deer that was actually lying there looking at him, wedged in there. And he's just like, "What the fuck?" And he runs over, like he sort of freaked out. And like he didn't quite know what to do, how to react, because he thought it was a real animal, like a live animal just kind of sitting there. And then he went and checked out and saw what it was. And then again, he was like, "What the fuck? Why is there like a head, an animal's head just sitting here?" And then they figured out that, okay, it was me, because they know I'm kind of a weirdo anyway, especially back then. So later on that day, because I just wedged it there because it was still partially in the morning, Tracy woke me up and said, "Get that thing out of here." And then I went back to bed, which is why I stuck it where I stuck it, because I was exhausted and hungover and whatever. So then I take the head later on, I put it in a bucket, and I take it way, way out in the field, like a good 15-minute walk out into the field. Because like I said, there's a lot of property here, a lot of land. So we go way out there, and I stuck it there and just kind of hid it. And I went to work that day. It was the same day. I went to work later on that day. And then I get a call from Tracy at work, or I think that's how it went. I can't remember, it was so long ago. But at some point I did get a phone call and saying that get rid of that thing that you left in the backyard, because Tracy's parents had come home, I believe, and Tracy's sister was there, and this deadbeat guy that used to be her boyfriend. They had a dog, Sierra, this really cute dog, and she found the head, and she's running around the yard with it in her mouth, throwing it around. Now I know it sounds bad, but it's just something that happened, right? So, and again, it's not. I don't condone cruelty to animals. The animal, again, to remind you, it was long dead. I didn't go up and kill this thing or whatever. So, dog's throwing it up in the air, shaking it. And they couldn't figure out what it had at first. They thought it caught a rabbit, which she would chase rabbits and stuff and occasionally catch them, but it wasn't something they encouraged. It was dog being a dog. But throwing it up in the air, and then she brings it back to the house, all like, look what I found. So again, when I come home from work, I take it way out in the field, like even farther away, and I didn't know what to do with it. My mind at that time, I thought it would just decay, and then I could, the maggots would do their thing, and I would have a skull. Like, that was my logic. So I put holes in the bucket even in case it rained or whatever. So I took it way, way out in the field this time. And then some days go by. And apparently the dog, we didn't know, found it again and brought it closer to the house, but like kind of left it somewhere. And no one could find it. She'd hid it. And the whole yard around just smelled like rotted meat, like rotted, decaying animal head, essentially. And we're looking for it everywhere. We could not find this thing. And I get a phone call that said, you better come and find this head because the whole yard stinks. But the message I got, actually, sorry, it was a note, but the first note said, because I got two, one was from the deadbeat guy. It says, your head stinks, get rid of it. And then Tracy's parents like, find that head, get rid of it. It's stinking up the entire yard. And it's true. But I did eventually find it, and then I took it way out, and I actually buried it just to get rid of it once and for all. So, but I don't know. It's a weird story. I'm probably laughing more than I should be, but it was kind of funny to live it in a sense, and it was kind of a gross experience, but not as gross. I mean, you think about people do collect roadkill and make trophies out of it, which I think is awesome. It's better than just destroying it, incinerating it. They actually will stuff them and preserve them and make, museum pieces and things like that, which, it's better than just shooting them to do that. So, but anyway, yeah, this is just another weird little story about my life. I probably could have told it a little bit better. I didn't write it out like I probably should have, but anyway, thanks for watching. And again, if you want to hit that subscribe button, that would be fantastic. I'd really like that. I don't know if you'll want to after this story, but there are a lot of worse stories that people have told, and for some reason still amassed lots and lots of fans. But I'm not monetized, you know that. I'm just a dude talking in front of a camera. But thanks for watching, and until the next one, bye.